A few years back, I saw there was a debate going on in a forum about the term psychopathy versus sociopathy. That looked interesting to me, and I wanted to join in, so I did a quick study on the subject, and my argument was that a psychopath is a sociopath who is smart enough to act like he isn't a sociopath. In other words, a sociopath is in prison. A psychopath is your boss. I had no idea how prophetic these words would end up being. I used to work for a restorative care unit owned by a nice little hospital. Then came the corporate takeover. We were made to believe that with the extra resources, we would see much better changes. Boy, was that a lie. Any part of the management team who had a mind of their own were immediately fired and replaced by the most incompetent people possible, one of them being the director of nurses. Since I worked third shift, I hadn't met her right away, but she was making sweeping and irrational changes and sending out the most cold-blooded memos. One was ended with, "If you are not okay with this, then perhaps you need to find employment somewhere else." I thought, who the hell does she think she is? She can just come in here and talk to us like that after being here just a few days? Then one morning, a really nice, charming woman came in around 5 o'clock in the morning. I figured she must have been an Affleck salesperson or something. It didn't occur to me for a second that this was the new DON. So I introduced myself to her, and she was just so warm and friendly. Nothing at all like I expected. Maybe she just didn't understand how she was coming across in the memos. I tried to explain how things were actually getting worse and why at staff meetings, trying to be helpful, something we had been encouraged to do in the past. But whenever I did that, just the opposite would happen, like it was being done on purpose. The employees were having nervous breakdowns and quitting at alarming rates. I joked that we should rename our hospital Exodus. Our place was spiraling downwards. Floor staffing was being cut while management grew threefold, and they still didn't do anything. Nothing was being maintained, and everything was getting filthy and breaking down. For the first time, we had to hire from temp agencies. This was going on for 3 years until one day, cold case files just happened to have been on the TV, and a woman was describing the personality of the person that the subject was about. Right away, I thought, yep, she's talking about a psychopath. Then a light turned on over my head. Oh my God, our director of nursing is a psychopath. Fear rose up in my body and my blood went cold. I had been trying to deal with a psychopath for the past 3 years. At first I felt stupid for not realizing it sooner, but after massively studying the subject, these individuals can fool even the best who specialize in personality disorders. Sociopathy and psychopathy share many traits, such as a disregard for the rights of others, a failure to feel remorse or guilt, a disregard for laws and social mores. Sociopaths tend to be nervous and easily agitated. They are likely to be uneducated and live on the fringes of society, unable to hold down a steady job or stay in one place. Any crimes committed by a sociopath can be disorganized and spontaneous. Psychopaths, on the other hand, often have charming personalities. They are manipulative and easily gain people's trust. They have learned to mimic emotion and so appear normal to other people. Psychopaths are often educated and hold steady jobs. Some are so good at manipulation and mimicry that they can have families and other long-term relationships without those around them ever suspecting their true nature. Psychopaths, when committing crimes, carefully plan out every detail and often have a contingency plan in place. Sociopaths may attach their loyalty to a person or group and will feel empathy for and not hurt those people to which they are attached. Psychopaths, however, have an inability to feel empathy and are just as likely to hurt their family and friends as they are strangers. And they scared the crap out of me. I stayed as far away from this woman afterwards as I could. I implored others to do the same. Do not be alone with this woman. If you can't stay away from her, make sure you always have someone with you. You have the legal right to do so. So, what do? They allow themselves to be alone with her, and they would come crying to me afterwards. You were right. I don't know why I allowed myself to be alone with her. It took me a long time and a federal lawsuit to finally get rid of her. But psychopathy has become a major problem in the workplace as corporations are taking over because corporations reward psychopathic behavior. It has become important for the average person to learn how to identify these dangerous individuals in order to protect themselves. Here are 8 questions from the quiz, Is Your Boss a Psychopath? For each question, score 2 points for yes, 1 point for somewhat or maybe, and 0 points for no. 1. Is he glib and superficially charming? 2. Does he have a grandiose sense of self-worth? 3. Is he a pathological liar? 4. Is he a con artist or a master manipulator? 5. When he harms people, does he feel a lack of remorse or guilt? 6. Does he have a shallow affect? 7. Is he callous and lacking in empathy? 8. Does he fail to accept responsibility for his own actions? If your boss scores 1 to 4, be frustrated. 5 to 7, be cautious. 8 to 12, be afraid. 13 to 16, be very afraid. When I gave this quiz to my coworkers, invariably, our DON scored in the be very afraid category.